Everyone at the hospital knew him as Viktor. He'd been cleaning the same corridors for 25 years, his English accent completely gone, a perfect American. Until that night, when a Russian-speaking patient arrived in the ER. Viktor's mop hit the floor, because that patient was the son of a man he'd killed in Moscow in 1985. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we begin this powerful story, tell us in the comments what city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. These stories matter. It was 5 a.m. at St. Mary's Hospital. The corridors were still quiet. The shift change hadn't begun yet. Viktor Petrov was mopping the fourth-floor hallways with his mop, just like he had for 25 years. Viktor was 67, medium height, gray-haired, a quiet man. Hospital staff knew him as Viktor. Reliable, hard-working, never caused trouble. He spoke perfect English with a slight Midwest accent. His neighbors thought he was from Detroit. No one knew he was actually Alexander Volkov, born in Leningrad in 1960. And for 23 years, one of the KGB's most effective agents. Viktor came to work with the same routine every morning. He'd put on his gray coveralls in the locker room, prepare his cleaning cart, and quietly begin his work. Never late, never left early, never complained. This morning started like every other, but this morning would be different. Viktor had carefully crafted his hospital life. Doctors and nurses would only greet him. He wouldn't chat much, wouldn't ask many questions. He'd just do his job and go home. Young nurse Sarah Martinez always smiled at him. "Good morning, Viktor. How are you today?" "I'm good, Sarah. Thank you." "How are you?" Viktor always replied in the same tone. "I'm fine. This weekend is my daughter Rachel's birthday. She's turning 16. Viktor smiled. "I can't believe how time flies. Just yesterday she was a little girl." These ordinary conversations were part of Viktor's mask. For 25 years he'd played the role of the perfect, ordinary American citizen. But in reality, he woke up every day asking himself the same question: will I be discovered today? In 1989, just before the fall of the Berlin Wall, Viktor, then Alexander Volkov, had made a secret deal with the CIA. He'd sold the KGB's most important operations, agent identities, and state secrets to America. In return, he'd received a new identity and escaped to America. Viktor Petrov was born. His job at the KGB in those days was cleaning, eliminating traitorous agents. In 1985, in Moscow, he'd killed a KGB agent named Igor Nemenov. Nemenov was suspected of working with the CIA. Viktor had shot him on a cold winter night on Moscow's streets, thrown the body into the Moscow River. Simple, clean, effective. But Nemenov had a small son, Dmitri, 8 years old, who never learned his father had been murdered. According to official records, Igor Nemenov had died of a heart attack. Viktor was on the night shift. It was 11:30 p.m. The hospital was relatively quiet. He was cleaning the intensive care unit on the 4th floor. Suddenly, ambulance sirens came from the ER. Then the rush began. Viktor always ignored these situations. It wasn't his job, but this time he heard different sounds. Someone was speaking Russian. Viktor gripped his mop tightly. For 25 years he hadn't spoken Russian once, hadn't pronounced a single Russian name. He'd completely eliminated his accent. The voices were getting closer. Dr. Carter's voice. "Taking him up to the 4th floor. Prepare a space in intensive care." Viktor moved his cleaning cart aside to clear the way. The man on the stretcher was middle-aged, unconscious. The young doctor, running alongside, was constantly giving orders in Russian. Viktor tried not to look at them. But when the patient regained consciousness, his first words froze Viktor's blood. "Papa, Papa, where am I?" That voice, that face. Viktor had never forgotten the memory from 25 years ago. The patient's name was Dmitri Nemenov. 33 years old, living in New York, had come on a business trip and suffered a heart attack. The son of Igor Nemenov, whom Viktor had killed. Viktor hadn't even noticed his mop had fallen to the floor. His legs were shaking, His heart was beating wildly. Dmitri was conscious now and speaking Russian constantly. Dr. Miller was helpless. "Does anyone know Russian? I can't understand what he's saying," Nurse Jennifer. "Isn't Viktor Russian? Maybe he can help." Viktor's world stopped. For 25 years, no one had known he was Russian. Just Viktor Petrov, American cleaning staff from Detroit. Dr. Miller turned to Viktor. "Viktor, can you speak Russian?" Viktor's voice wouldn't come. Dmitri's eyes shifted to him. The young man was looking at him, but didn't recognize him. How could he? 25 years had passed, and Viktor looked very different then. "Viktor," Dr. Miller repeated. I only know a few words," Viktor answered with difficulty. Dmitri stayed in the hospital for 3 days. During those 3 days, Viktor tried not to go up to the 4th floor, but inevitably, they encountered each other. On the 2nd day, while Viktor was cleaning the corridor, Dmitri was sitting in a wheelchair outside his room. He was talking on the phone in Russian. "Yes, Mama, I'm fine in New York. I had a heart attack, but I'm recovering. Yes, I remember, Papa. I always wanted to be strong like him." Viktor had to stop while passing. Dmitri looked at him and asked in English, "Excuse me, are you Russian? Your accent sounds familiar." Viktor's hand froze on the cleaning cloth. "No, I'm American, from Detroit." "I see. It's just your face seems familiar. Maybe my father knew you." These words tore Viktor's insides. "Who was your father?" "Igor Nemenov. He died in 1989 from a heart attack. I was small. I don't remember him much." Viktor nodded. "I'm sorry. No, I don't know him." But Dmitri was studying Viktor. There was suspicion in his eyes. On the day Dmitri was to be discharged, Viktor had to clean his room. Another cleaning staff was sick. While Dmitri was packing his things, Viktor was emptying the trash. Suddenly, Dmitri spoke. "Viktor, is that name real?" Viktor froze. "What do you mean?" "You've been working here for 25 years, but there are no records. Only from 1998 onwards. Nothing before." Viktor's hand was trembling. Maybe the records were lost." "Maybe. Or maybe you too lived another life like my father." The silence lasted long. "Do you know what happened to your father?" Viktor finally asked. "Official records say heart attack, but my mother always suspected. My father worked for the KGB and did dangerous work." Viktor swallowed. "And what do you think?" "I think my father was murdered. And I think the person who killed him is still alive." That evening, as Viktor was going home, Dmitri was waiting for him in the parking lot. "We need to talk," Dmitri said. Viktor had nowhere to run. They got in his car. "Your name isn't Viktor Petrov," Dmitri said. "I researched. Viktor Petrov appeared from nowhere in 1998. Nothing before that. Who do you think I am?" "I think you're Alexander Volkov, the man who killed my father." Viktor didn't speak for a long time. Then he nodded. "Yes. In 1985, your father was given an order. I had to kill him." Dmitri's eyes filled with tears. "Why?" "They suspected he was working with the Americans. The KGB thought there was betrayal. But was my father innocent?" Viktor paused. "Number. He was also working with the CIA, like me. We were both traitors. So when you killed him, I was covering up my own crime. If he had talked, he would have exposed me too." Dmitri was crying. "You lived innocently for 25 years." "No," Viktor shook his head. "I lived in hell for 25 years. I see your father's face every night." "Why didn't you run away?" Dmitri asked. "Because I'm Viktor Petrov now. Alexander Volkov is dead, working at this hospital, living an ordinary life. This is my punishment. So what happens now?" Viktor took a deep breath. "You can turn me into the police. You can tell the FBI I deserve it. Or you can tell me completely how my father died. What really happened that night." Viktor told the whole story. That Igor Nemenov was working with the CIA, that he himself was also a double agent, that the KGB suspected both of them. "That night I had offered the meeting to your father, but he had acted earlier than me. He was about to expose me." "So you killed him to protect yourself?" "Yes." But that doesn't make it less of a crime. Dmitri thought for a long time. Was my father also planning to kill you? I don't know. Maybe he was just going to expose me. But exposure meant death in those days. I could have taken revenge on you, Dmitri said. You could. It's your right. But my father was doing the same things. He had probably killed people too. Viktor nodded. Probably. So what will you do now? I don't know. Now you know. You'll make the decision. Dmitri got out of the car. Viktor, or Alexander, whoever you are, you've lived clean for 25 years. That means something. The next day, Dmitri came to the hospital. He found Viktor. I won't go to the police, he said. Viktor was surprised. Why? Because taking revenge on my father won't bring him back. But you do good work here. I don't understand. Everyone who works with you at this hospital loves you. For 25 years, you've helped sick people. That's also a kind of atonement. Viktor started crying. Thank you. But there's one condition. What? Tell me about my father. What was he like? What did he love? Tell me real stories. Over the following months, Viktor and Dmitri met regularly. Viktor told Igor Nemenov's memories. Your father was very smart. He was funny. He always talked about you. Really? Yes. He'd say Dmitri will be a pilot when he grows up. Did you become a pilot? No, I became an architect. But I used to dream of being a pilot as a child. These conversations comforted both Viktor and Dmitri. Viktor's behavior at the hospital had changed. Now he was more open, more talkative. Nurse Sarah had noticed this. Viktor, you seem happier lately. Yes, Sarah, I think I've made peace with the past. How wonderful. We all should have such moments. Viktor smiled. A real smile for the first time. A few months later, Dmitri came to the hospital with his wife Elena and daughter Anya. They want to thank Viktor, Dmitri said. Elena took Viktor's hand. Thank you for saving Dmitri's life. Viktor blushed. I'm just a cleaning staff. No, 7-year-old Anya spoke. Are you an angel? Papa said so. Viktor bent down and kissed the girl's cheek. No, princess, I'm just a man who made peace with his past. Viktor Petrov, or Alexander Volkov, is now 69 years old. He still works at St. Mary's Hospital. Now he's not just cleaning staff, but also a volunteer translator, and helps families of Russian patients. Dmitri visits regularly and calls Viktor Uncle Viktor. The past cannot be changed. Viktor can never act as if he never killed Igor Nemenov, but he can change the future. The secret he'd hidden for 25 years had finally lost its weight. Sometimes the greatest punishment is to continue living, and sometimes the greatest forgiveness comes from the victim's family. Viktor's story teaches us this. Our past doesn't have to define us. Atonement is possible, and sometimes our enemies can become our allies at the most unexpected times. If this story touched you, write your thoughts about Viktor in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Human Stories, because everyone has a story worth telling. Until the next story, if you've met someone like Viktor in your life, someone carrying a secret, trying to make peace with the past, remember to show them mercy, because we all have sides that need forgiveness.